When you walk into Independence Village of Waterstone, one of the first things that catches your eye is the display of veterans along the walls. Veterans of all our recent major conflicts. Some really interesting and exciting stories. Stay with us on My Life to hear more. We're here with Chuck Jacobs for part 2 of his interview on My Life. Chuck is a resident of Independence Village. He was originally born in Detroit. He served in World War II and served on the Detroit Police Department as well as some other police-related activities. In our first segment with Chuck, we covered the time up to when he joined the Navy during World War II and went into pilot training, right? And I believe the last thing you spoke of was piloting some Piper Cubs during the training phase of things.
Right.
So how did that go?
It was good. We were at Bowling Green, Ohio. We lived in a dormitory, had civilian pilots. We had a very comfortable quarters. I think there was only 50 Navy cadets there, and it was everything was very comfortable for us.
How long did this training last?
6 months.
6 months.
And we were close to home. I went home one weekend, and one weekend they brought my sister and her husband brought my parents and my girlfriend from Detroit down to Bowling Green. When they came down, they came to our quarters and they told my parents that we were out to the airfield. So they came out to the airport where we were, and they asked where I was, and they said he's up there, and they up in the airplane, you know. And my mom looked up there and said, "It's him up there in the airplane?" They said, "Yeah." And when I landed, I got out, and she said, "Was he there by himself?" She was surprised that I was up in the airplane all by myself, you know.
Probably a little proud, too.
She said she was scared to see that I was all by myself, you know.
What'd your dad say?
He was kind of proud of me,
Yeah.
you know. But we had dinner together, and we went out to supper, and we went bowling with the girlfriend and the sister and brother-in-law. Spent the evening together and kissed her goodbye, and he went back to Detroit, you know. But it was only 20 miles outside of Toledo, you know.
Sure.
So it was close enough. So.
But pilot training didn't go the direction you thought it would, did it?
No, when I got to Iowa, which was the University of Iowa, they had a quota cut, they said, and the class was cut in half, and I was in the lower half. So I had the option of taking a discharge and coming back to civilian life, or I could pick a service school. So I picked a service school, and I went to Norman, Oklahoma as a seaman second class. And I picked aviation ordnance, and I become an aviation ordnanceman. And I went through aviation ordnance, and I spent 8 weeks in aviation ordnance training. And from there I went to Miami, Florida, and I become a turret gunner on a TBM.
So now you're getting closer to the water.
Yeah. And ended up, I made 3 carrier landings on a escort carrier. It was in the back seat of the turret. I don't know if you're at all familiar, but
What kind of airplane was it?
a TBM,
Okay.
which is a torpedo bomber.
Is that a large aircraft or a smaller?
Well, it's a 3-man crew.
So is it a 2-engine aircraft?
No, single engine.
Single engine?
It's the largest single engine bomber that they ever had put off of a carrier.
Uh-huh.
And it was a wonderful airplane, but you were flying, the turret gunner was flying backwards. So anyhow.
So you always knew where you'd been, right?
Yeah. Anyhow, when I finished that, they decided that they had dropped too many from the flight training program. So I had the option of coming back into the flight training as an AP and keep my first class rating as a seaman, or I could go back to status as a cadet.
What'd you decide?
I decided to come back as a cadet.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Athens, Georgia as a cadet again, and as a refresher course. And I went to Memphis, Tennessee as a cadet at primary, and I took primary flight training, and I had 60 hours of primary training, and the war ended.
So you didn't get a chance to get involved in the actual fighting of World War II because you were in training.
World War II at all.
Yeah.
But then they didn't know what to do with it. I had completed primary, and
so now what lies?
I was going to go to Corpus Christi, Texas for advanced, and they said if you go to advanced, you can take 4 more years of the Navy.
Let's hold that thought for just a minute. We have to stop for a break, but we'll be right back with Chuck Jacobs.
Hey Lakeville, you're watching OCTV.
Here on My Life with Chuck Jacobs. So Chuck, you were just describing how you went through another phase of your training and all of a sudden the war was over. So you kind of got a get out of jail free card there, didn't you?
Right.
What did you do? You were given the option of going into another program if you wanted to, but what did you decide to do?
Well, everybody that I knew was still overseas or waiting to see if they had enough points to come home or what to do. So I decided that I would come home.
Okay.
And I ended up going to a separation center in St. Louis. And I got when we got there, nobody knew. It was such a confusion there. They said, take a leave and come back in a couple of days and maybe we'll get things straightened out. So I had a couple of days leave in St. Louis.
Is that another way of saying they couldn't find your file?
Right, that's what it amounted to. So anyhow, a couple of days in St. Louis and I come back and I got my discharge in St. Louis.
Okay.
And I had decided that I'd save all my mustering out pay and everything I could, so I hitchhiked home. And I hitchhiked home from St. Louis.
Hitchhiked from St. Louis?
Yeah. And had no problem getting a ride, and I got home.
Did you have a uniform on at the time?
Oh, yeah.
Well, no wonder.
Sure. Yeah. So I got home, and I ended up, oh God, what did I do then? I just went from civilian life, or from one job to another. I didn't have any particular skills or anything. I didn't know what to do. I worked at Chrysler's for a while.
When did you decide to go into the police department?
Oh, that was a long time.
Oh, okay.
I worked at Crossroad Advertising.
What did you do for them?
I was, they called it a gaffer. I was a stagehand in the studio. That was a good job, and I liked it.
Did you meet some interesting people?
Oh, yeah. But it was a good job, but we had our main customer was Chrysler. Chrysler went on strike, and they kept us there for a long time without doing any work or any shooting or anything. And but finally they had to let us go. And I ended up going with a little studio. And they didn't have much work. So what the heck?
Well, now let's keep in mind what our time frame is here. This would have been late 1940s, correct? I mean, the war was done.
Yeah.
So this would have been 45, 46, 47, somewhere in there. We are going through a phase in the media from radio to television. a slow phase. The ads that you were helping to put together, would they have been for television or for the movie theater? What would they have been for?
Slide film is what they were doing.
For slide films, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, continue with your story. So you were finally laid off. What did you do next?
What did I do next?
Did you meet your wife anywhere along the path
No.
during this time?
It was quite a while.
Quite a while later?
Yeah. We ended up with, ended up at Hudson Motor. I worked there for a while.
So were you in the auto industry for a little while?
Yeah. And I worked at everything in Detroit was pretty much in the auto industry, you know. I was at Hudson Motor, I was at Chrysler.
Was it hard to get a job after the war because
No.
of so many people coming back?
No.
No.
And,
Let's move ahead to when you joined the Detroit Police Department. What prompted you to look into that line of work?
the one fellow that I had worked with at Crossroad, he told me, he says, let's go down and join the police department. And I said at that time I wasn't doing anything special. So
Were you married at this time?
No.
Okay.
So I said, sure, why not? You know. So he and I went down there and took the test. I passed it and he failed. So I ended up joining the department. But I had, I was over the age limit, but I could take my service time. I think the age limit was 30 and I was 31. But knocking off my service time, I qualified age-wise. So I ended up going to the academy. And that's how I ended up.
So what was the
joining
first thing they had you doing after the academy?
Walking the beat.
Walking a beat.
Yeah.
Was it right downtown?
They took our whole class. They would, I think we had 62 in our class, and they would take the whole class and put them in one precinct, and you would walk wherever they wanted you to, down the alleys and wherever they wanted to put you. So they would just so many extra, and they were their regular complement of people. They didn't want you there anyhow, you know.
Yeah.
So they would ignore you.
Yeah.
So
I want to talk to you more about that. We've got to take a break right now, but
Yeah.
we'll be right back with Chuck Jacobs.
Hey Leonard, you're watching OCTV.
Back with Chuck Jacobs on My Life, talking about being on the Detroit Police Department. Kind of sounds like walking the beat was not your favorite thing to do.
oh no, that was what they did. We were the first group that they bought uniforms for. Before that, everybody had to buy their own uniforms. And that created a lot of bitterness among the senior men. And
Would this have been during the early 1950s?
Right.
when you started the police
Right.
department?
Yeah, I come on in 55.
Okay.
And so it created some bitterness among the senior men. So I think I was on the job for 6 years before I was assigned regular as a scout car. So I walked a beat for 6 years.
Uh-huh.
So
So you went into a scout car. Was that did you like that better?
oh yeah, that was much better than walking a beat.
You probably, when you were walking a beat though, you probably met some interesting people that you would see on a regular basis. Some of them that you really didn't like to see on a regular basis,
Oh,
but maybe
yeah.
others that you look forward to seeing.
Some of them were, yeah. On the school crossings, then it was in doing traffic. It was the kids on the school crossing used to call me Officer Smiley, because I would have them every day, you know, and they got a kick out of me doing.
Was it while you were in the police department that you met your wife?
Yeah, that was when I met her.
Was it while you were a patrolman or a...
Yeah, as a patrolman.
Okay, how did you meet your wife?
It was, she was at Crossroad Advertising.
Oh,
And,
was she your boss?
Was she a boss?
Your boss while you were there.
Oh, no. I
did she-
was, how the heck did we meet? She was, I was playing ball for the Crossroad baseball team. I was not an employee there, and then they come out with a rule that you had to be an employee to play ball for the company. And so the manager of the ball team says, well, hey, we'll give you a job. That way we'll keep you on a team. So they gave me a job at Crossroad.
So it was back when you started working for Ross Roy that you met your wife?
Yeah,
And your wife's name is?
Shirley.
Shirley. Okay, so let's go forward a little bit. Were you in the police department when the two of you got married?
Yeah.
Okay, was it while you were a patrolman or while you were in the car?
Well, I was a patrolman.
While you were walking the beat?
Patrolman.
Yeah, Shirley is coaching us from the background here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I was a patrolman.
Okay.
So,
Did she hate it when you went to work every day? As a
oh, I
patrolman?
think she adjusted to it. She
Yeah.
didn't like the fact when we got married, then we bought a house, and she didn't like the idea of being home alone.
Yeah.
And
Whereabouts was the house?
on the east side of
On
Detroit.
the east side.
The police department had a residency rule.
Right.
You had to live in the city. So we bought a little two-room house in Detroit.
Now, you were a patrolman with the city for what, 10 years?
26 years.
But at some point you became a photographer, didn't you?
Yeah, within the city. It was, how did that? I ended up with the photo bureau in Detroit.
Still with the police
Yeah,
department?
the photographic unit in Detroit.
How did that come about? Do you remember?
I was on leave, and some guy that I worked with at the 13th precinct, he brought home a flyer that they issued from the photographic unit in Detroit, that they had an opening for a photographer. And I was shooting family portraits and stuff within the neighborhood, and in the guys in the police department, and he brought this flyer that they had an opening in the police department photographic unit. So I went down and talked to him down in the photographic unit, and they called me down there, and I brought some samples of my work, and so they transferred me down to the photographic unit.
I'm sure that in the course of doing that, you saw some pretty nasty things.
Oh, yeah.
But then you'd seen some nasty things before, probably, too.
Yeah.
Were you surprised at anything you saw?
I saw 6 dead bodies in one room. I saw a 16-year-old girl blow her head off with a shotgun. I saw a lot of bad things.
Was there something that bothered you more than most?
I think I got used to all of it. I didn't let it bother me.
A lot of people say kids, things involving kids.
I saw kids wrapped up in a pillowcase and thrown in the Detroit River and come floating down the Detroit River.
Okay. We've got to wrap it up pretty soon. I wish we had more time. After you were on the police department, before you retired, did you work at another place after the police department?
Sterling Heights.
That's right, you were on the Sterling Heights Police Department, weren't you?
Well, I was a civilian employee
Okay.
with the Sterling Heights.
What did you do for them?
They had a one-man photo lab where
You were the one man?
I was the one man, and they had a mug camera up on the 9th floor and they had developed the film from their
Okay.
arrest records and all the photography that was done had to be processed and everything. I did all that.
Did you retire then after the Sterling Heights?
I had 8.5 years, and I could buy my military time. So I retired with 10 years. So I left there.
And we have to wrap it up now. I'll say this, that Chuck Jacobs eventually retired, and you lived in Florida for a few years.
20 years.
20 years now. You're back here in Michigan to rejoin your family. Chuck is the father of Denise Sweet, who you may know in these parts as the assistant superintendent, one of the assistant superintendents over at the Oxford schools. And we're very pleased that you took the time to be with us, Chuck. So, Chuck Jacobs, thank you very much.
Okay.
Come back next time.